Hello, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We do have a lot of people on the call, so we have got everyone on mute at the moment. We will endeavour to ask all the questions that you have. However, because we have so many people on the call, I think it's going to be difficult to do that via audio. So if you could please use the questions box in the control panel, and we have a team on hand to answer questions as we go along. Any questions that we haven't managed to address during the presentation, we will endeavour to answer at the end. If not, they will be passed to the team to follow up afterwards. With that, I would again like to thank you all for joining. It's great to see that so many people are as excited as I am about this launch of UDP 7. So with that, we will begin. So bear with me a second. Advance to the next slide. For some reason, Amanda, it will not let me now. Oh, there we go.
Okay, can you try it right now?
If you let go of your mouse, that'd be awesome. And then...
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, great.
Okay, so what we're going to cover today, we're going to first of all go into a little bit about Arcserve. For those of you don't know us, or perhaps have encountered us a while ago, just to go into a little bit of the history in terms of what we are and the background behind where we are going with the current product suite. And then also, I want to kind of delve into a bit about the digital economy as well. Basically, that data and applications have become the lifeblood of the modern business. And this is what is driving the development of Arcserve, because data and its protection, its security, its resilience has become so important in the modern business that it is absolutely vital that you have a robust procedure in place in order to protect it. With that, we are then going to hand over to Amanda Bertucci, who is Senior Pre-Sales for EMEA, who will guide you through some of the marquee features and what's new within UDP 7. And that should all take about half an hour. And then we have about a 20-minute live demo to show you both some of the new and existing features of Arcserve UDP. And after that, we will go through some of the questions and what the next steps are and where you can go to find out more information. So with that, yes, so as you well know, probably, Arcserve has been around for a very long time. We've been developing data protection solutions now for well over 30 years and are arguably the most experienced data protection vendor in the world. With UDP 7, we are at the very latest stage in this evolution that further enhances our unified approach to business continuity and disaster recovery across disk, tape, and cloud, and providing customers with maximum flexibility, simplicity, and speed to recover, combined with unprecedented economics. We're continuing to focus on developing best-in-class data protection and business continuity solutions through both the evolution and revolution in the way that IT services are being delivered. It's a unique combination of experience, innovation, that has allowed us to create a data protection solution that enables organizations to manage and control a common set of data protection policies across all applications and file workloads, regardless of whether they are physical, virtual, on-premise, or even in the cloud. Right now, we currently have over 45,000 customers globally using UDP across 150 countries. We have more than 7,500 partners supporting those customers and delivering our solutions on our behalf. And we have also built a number of strong alliances with most important vendors from service delivery, cloud delivery, and storage platforms that are around in the world. So the digital economy, there was a time when it was very simple, and IT services were predominantly delivered on-premise workloads, whether physical or more laterally, went into virtual workloads. But now we also, as part of that as well, as data volumes grew, it was simply not enough just to deliver those applications on servers. And so we saw the proliferation of NAS and SAN based platforms as well. especially into the mid-market. It was something that trickled down really from the high enterprise. And now we are seeing more people host workloads in the cloud, and also have software delivered as a service. With the Office 365 becoming more prevalent, certainly people are moving email into Office 365, SharePoint services, and now also file sharing services as well. Typically, the on-premise workloads were tackled from a backup and DR perspective by delivering an on-premise DR. And latterly, as a belt and braces approach, we've also moved those that on-premise DR either in part or in whole into the cloud. Likewise, NAS SAN data also on-premise backup, and also in some instances moving some of that DR provision out into the cloud. Cloud workloads have historically been protected in the cloud, and SaaS has typically been protected in the cloud or left historically to the backup provider to provide the resilience and the backup services that they have. The challenge that you have is that often you have one or more, even up to 6 different ways of protecting your data, which can, in most instances, result in 6 different applications and 6 different points of control for your data protection and resilience of your business, which makes it very difficult to set a common set of SLAs for the entire business. And in point of fact that actually with cloud workloads, that most applications and backup vendors and DR vendors don't actually provide a solution for being able to back that up to site, which is quite common, because what it then does is give you a way out of cloud if indeed you decide to bring things back on premise, is to have data that is in the cloud backed up on premise within your 4 walls. So what Arcserve does, and I realize there is a lot of information on this slide. We have, to simplify it overall, is everything on the left can be backed up via through data protection through one console, one application, to everything on the right. What we have done is taken those 6 points of data protection and combined it into one unified data protection and business continuity solution, which we call Arcserve UDP version 7. And basically what it does give you is a reliable, affordable, scalable, all-in-one DR and backup that is easy to manage, easy to deploy, and it's easy to monitor how you are doing against your projected SLAs. What that actually means in practice, we have basically unrivaled recovery, whether it be bare metal to existing hardware, to virtual machines, either via virtual standby or instant VM, or even into the cloud. What's really vitally important with this is that this is true DR, so we are able to start up these backups as whole machines, either virtual, physical, or in the cloud, and even actually do DR testing, which we can then measure. We can do unlimited tests. We can then measure how quickly you recover, and then assign those against your service level objectives to ensure that you're meeting the SLAs that the business decrees you should achieve for certain applications. With cloud, we have our own cloud to offer backup and DR as a service, but also have full integration with public cloud services as well. In terms of backup, we have a wide range of support across Windows and Linux systems, agentless virtual backup, global source and target-based deduplication, as well as the hardware snapshot integration with most of the leading storage vendors. And with the management, we have a web-based console, which gives you a single point of management across all of the protected workloads and across all the sites within your infrastructure. So if you have multiple sites that you need to manage, you can manage all of those from a single web-based console. So with that, I'll pass over to my colleague Amanda, who will guide you through what's new in UDP 7, and then head into the live demo.
Thank you, Steve. Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I want to talk to you about the main features that we're launching with UDP 7. UDP 7 is a very comprehensive product. And like Steve said, we can protect everything you've got to everywhere. But there are two very important components that we added in this version that is helping us complete and broaden our support to the different platforms that you might work with. These are Office 365 and Nutanix AHV. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to you a little bit about the Office 365 support and how we provide this complete protection to it. This is one of the most exciting marquee features that we have in this version, which is the support for Office 365 OneDrive. We already had support for SharePoint and Exchange Online on the previous version, but now by adding this feature, we're able to offer a complete Office 365 protection for you. So what are we doing here, right? We're supporting Office 365, offering backup and granular recovery for SharePoint, OneDrive, and Exchange Online. By the way that Office 365 works with Microsoft Teams as well, which saves its components on each of these applications, we're also going to be able to back up this data generated by Microsoft Teams. So this is quite important. Not only we can back up these applications, we also provide our global deduplication technology. So as you can imagine, everything is going to be managed through the same console that we already have in UDP. It's going to be stored in the same type of data store, and it's going to be compared with all the other data that you might already have backed up there. So we're going to be able to take advantage of the reduction of your storage footprint even for this Office 365 data. We also provide encryption, not only while you're transferring data from Microsoft to your on-prem environment or to our cloud, but we also encrypt data in REST, which is really important because it helps you comply with regulations such as GDPR. There are a number of vendors out there that provide you encryption while you're transferring data, but do not provide encryption in REST. And that could cause you to be violating one of the articles in GDPR. So you might keep an eye on that. Also, this is a great protection tool if you're transitioning from an on-prem to a cloud solution, because we're going to be able to protect your Exchange on-prem installation with the same console that you're going to protect your Exchange online data. So this is very exciting. This is very good, and I'm going to show you in the demo how easy it's done. Why did we decide to provide that support for you? The reason why we decided to add this feature to our product is that Microsoft doesn't really offer an effective backup for Office 365 applications. Okay, a recycle bin does not equal to backup, right? If not, we wouldn't need to back up things that are in the recycle bin of our servers, right? So not only that, we can highlight some other limitations there. In Office 365, they retain the data for only 90 days when they're deleted, right, by default. And these items are deleted from the recycle bin after 90 days. If you're not backing up emails and you delete a mailbox, it's not going to be available anymore after 30 days. And of course, emails can be modified by admins, by the users themselves. They can delete attachments. So having a backup for that gives you another layer of protection to the company's data, right? And of course, it doesn't provide you offsite backup and point-in-time recovery. So if you're under any regulations or your business policies require you to have offsite backup and point-in-time recovery or a different retention than what Microsoft provides you, you're going to need a nice backup solution to take your data out of Office 365 and put it somewhere else. The good thing is that with UDP, you can do that both on premises, on your premises UDP installation, as in our cloud. Okay, so I'm gonna give the audio back to Steve so he can tell you a little bit about how we license this feature. That's with you, Steve.
Sure. Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, so basically with Office 365, we have a range of ways of licensing it. And basically which one you choose depends on the specific requirements of the business and also which licensing suits you best commercially. So we can license it on a per user basis. And these are available in packs. And that is but as you go up in the packs, basically the cost per user comes down. It's as simple as that. We can also, in environments where you have a large Office 365 environment and perhaps a limit where the large number of users, then it may be better to go for a per terabyte model of backup. So you can also do it what we call by managed capacity, and it's per terabyte of used storage within Office 365. There is no limit on the users, or is no attachment in terms of licensing regarding the users. And again, economies of scale, the more terabytes, the cheaper per unit cost it gets. The interesting thing to note is with the appliances come with all of the software installed on them already. So if you wanted to back up your Office 365 environment to an appliance on premise, then you can do that. The feature is included. There is nothing additional to buy. The only thing you have to be aware of is that you have to factor in your Office 365 environment into the sizing of the appliance, which our pre-sales team can help you with. The other part is if you don't want any infrastructure on site, we can also do direct cloud-to-cloud backup, whereby that you buy managed capacity on a subscription in the Arcserve cloud, and we back up the Office 365 direct to the cloud, encrypted as you'd expect, so that you do not have to have any infrastructure on site, and you simply pay this on a per terabyte subscription model.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Steve. Here's just a screenshot of the configuration. You're going to see that in the demo, and you're going to see how easy it is to configure this. All right. So to our next feature, we have Nutanix AHV. In the previous versions, we already had an integration with Nutanix for agentless backups, meaning that we don't have to install agents inside of the virtual machines. For Nutanix running VMware or Hyper-V, we had support for Acropolis. If you would install an agent inside of the virtual machine, we would copy that virtual machine just as if it was a physical one. But what we're bringing with this this support for AHV, it's something very broad and very nice. So we can protect your production workloads on AHV without agents, all right? So we're going to support Windows and Linux VMs. We don't have to install agents in them. We can do any-to-any recovery. So we can back up from, we can recover from a virtual to physical, to another hypervisor, or to a cloud. We can recover to AWS, to Azure. We can provide you near zero RTO using our solutions like virtual standby and instant VM. We can apply assured recovery for the automated DR testing, and we can help you do your migrations to and from AHV. So let's say that today you're using VMware and you're considering moving into Nutanix. We're going to be able to back up your machines on VMware and restore them on Nutanix. And if you use something like virtual standby, for example, or instant VM, we're going to be able to help you do that migration with minimum downtime, because basically all you're going to have to do is just run your last backup, turn off the original machine, and turn on the new migrated machine on the Nutanix platform. The other way around would work just as well. Let's say that today you're working with Nutanix and you're migrating workloads to Hyper-V, let's say. We're going to be able to help you do that. And of course, that also includes the cloud. So if you're migrating your Nutanix workloads to AWS or Azure, UDP is going to be able to help you move this data up to the cloud. We can also use the Nutanix AHV as a DR platform. So let's say that you want to use the infrastructure that you already have with AHV to recover machines that are in other hypervisors or in another cluster or a physical machine, we are going to be able to do that within Nutanix AHV and also the DR testing. So we can use AHV as a place where you can perform DR and DR testing. And of course, we have the unified management, right? We're integrated with Prism. We don't need new or extra interfaces. You're not going to need a different console to protect your Nutanix workloads. And you're going to use the very same workflow that you already use with UDP for VMware and Hyper-V. I'm going to show you that to you in the demo, and you're going to see how that also is very easy. The reason why we chose to go with Nutanix is basically because they are the leader in the hyper-converged industry today. So we have got a very nice alliance with them, and I am confident enough to say that there's no other backup provider in the market today that provides the same integration that we do with Nutanix from one single console. Okay. You're going to see the integration in the console. I just wanted to put a few examples here of what we can do. So here is how we import virtual machines from Nutanix. Here is we can see all we can do a discovery from Nutanix and generate a report on that. And here we're selecting nodes to protect from Nutanix inside of a configuration plan. So I'm going to show you that in the console, and you're going to see how nice that is. I wanted to go over some more features that we added to UDP. I don't want to get too technical about it, and I don't want to bore you with a lot of PPTs, but I just wanted to give you a glance of the other things that we added to the product. Okay, you're going to see a lot of technical terms here, and you're going to find all of this information in our release notes document, which is in our support portal. But I wanted to highlight here how many technical enhancements we have put into this product, and I wanted to highlight here specifically that we're still broadening our hardware snapshot support. So we're supporting Dell EMC, Unity, and Hyper-V environments, and we have added we have updated our support to NetApp ONTAP. One interesting thing about Hyper-V that is worth mentioning is that because of the way that Hyper-V works with hardware snapshots, any device that you have that supports hardware snapshots and that you have license to generate that from will work with UDP. The thing about the devices that we support with Hyper-V and the hardware snapshot is just that we certified it, right? So our latest certification is Dell EMC Unity. But if you have any other hardware any other storage that supports hardware snapshot, with Hyper-V, we're going to be able to make that work. It's just not certified. Dell EMC Unity is certified just as NetApp, HP, 3PAR, and Nimble. Okay. We are still broadening our support to Linux, right? So we added some extended support to the newer versions on all of these distributions. So you can run your backups with agents, without agents, with granular restore, instant VM, all the good features that we have in the product to help you support your Linux environments. We have extended our support for database and platform as well. So as you can see there, we already support Windows Server 2019. Here are the versions of Acropolis that we're supporting. vSphere 6.7 update 1, Exchange 2019, and so on, so on. So we keep on broadening our support to the latest versions of operating systems and databases that you might have. In our appliance, we added some enhancements as well. So the Korean language support, a little bit of troubleshooting for the factory reset. When you cannot do the factory reset, you can actually collect the logs from there. And we have added integration with Arcserve Backup 18, which is another version that we're launching, an update version for Arcserve Backup to offload data to tape. Okay. Another interesting thing for you to see, you might see in our release notes that we're discontinuing support for older versions of operating systems and platforms. This is just because their vendors are discontinuing these versions. Okay, so uh, it doesn't mean that maybe you can use an older installation of UDP to support these environments, but we should always be looking forward to what the other vendors are releasing. And you can see that our supported versions are many, right? So we're ranging today for Windows from 2008 to 2019. So that's a lot to support. As you can see here in the list, our support is very broad. About UDP backward compatibility, if you have an older version of UDP, with UDP 7, you can protect agents that are in older versions from 6.5. We no longer support 6.0. This version is quite old. The Arcserve application and high availability is not in the unified installer anymore. You're going to have to use their the RHA installer separately. But what is really important here is that any recovery points that you created since version 5 are supported to be restored from version 7. Okay, so if you have old recovery points, if you have a data store that is residing in a different storage for historical content, you don't need to have an older version of UDP to restore them. You can use them with UDP 7. Okay, I'm gonna pass it back to Steve to talk a little bit about the licensing changes.
Hi, yes, thanks again, Amanda. So for those of you who are familiar with the existing licensing program, we have 4 editions up to 6.5, which was premium, standard, advanced, premium, and premium plus. The Premium Plus license is being discontinued, which Premium Plus basically only gave you, in addition to Premium, RHA, which is our replication high availability tool, which some of you may be familiar with. Now, the reality is that the majority of people who deploy RHA deploy it on only a few critical servers. So we have decided, we haven't discontinued RHA, and it's still very much part of our plans. But we figured it was better to just discontinue Premium Plus and for customers to be able to buy RHA just on the machines that they needed it. But renewal for existing customers that are on Premium Plus is still available, and including additional licenses. So if you have a Premium Plus capacity license, you can buy additional Premium Plus licenses if you already have a Premium Plus license. We have two changes to the rules. So there are now no mixing of editions within a license set, so they all must be standard, advanced, premium. No mixing with MCP. So instance-based or socket-based, with instant-based or socket-based are not allowed within an environment. So it's either MCP or it's socket-based licensing, which was really always the case, but we've just kind of put it in as a hard and fast rule now. Instance-based or socket-based mix is okay, provided the additions remain identical. So per OS, per user, and for socket base, we can mix, provided they are all basically standard or advanced editions. So those are really the main changes for the licensing. To be honest with you, most of it remains the same. If you know our licensing at all, then you'll realize that's actually very few changes in terms of what we have overall. So the vast majority of things remain exactly the same. If you're unclear, by all means, speak to your local representative and they'll be able to guide you further. Back to you, Amanda.
Oh, thank you. Another important thing for existing customers, if you're looking into upgrading to UDP 7, it's very important that before you do that, you open a support ticket. If you're under maintenance, to request your free of charge upgrade. You upgrade your licenses, then you can upgrade your software, and you should right away activate the software with the new licenses that you received from support. Okay, what happened in the previous versions that we had is that a lot of customers would just do the upgrade. This installation became a new a trial, and then maybe you forgot to activate the licenses, and after 30 days, the product would start to fail. So just make sure that before you upgrade to the newest version, just request your free of charge upgrade and apply those licenses right after you upgrade. Okay. You can find the documentation for this process on support.arcserve.com. Okay. All right. So let's go to the fun part. Let's go to the demo. So I'm going to show you a little bit of our console, these new features, and how nice and easy everything works with UDP. So let me just log into my server here. As you can see, I'm using Windows 2019. So UDP is running on Windows 2019. All of my lab environment is now on Windows 2019. And as you can see, I don't have a lot of history data because I had just re-implemented my lab, but I managed to generate a little bit of history for you to see the main features, right? So when you log into the UDP console, the first thing you're going to see is this dashboard. And here's a lot of nice, interesting information for you. So the result of the latest tasks are going to be here. You can select the task type that you want to see. And as you can see, UDP does a lot more than just backup, right? We can do a lot of stuff. A should recovery test is right here. We have the upload to tape. We can replicate to the cloud, virtual standby. Everything is right here. So it's very easy to see how was the latest task. How does your environment look like? And if you see any red things here, you can easily click on this graph, and it's going to take you to a more detailed report, so you can see exactly what failed. Here we have your storage footprint reduction. I've been running a lot of backups since yesterday, as you can see. And what you can see here is that this light blue ball here, it represents the amount of data that can be restored. So if I would keep all of the data that I'm protecting without the duplication, compression, and infinite incrementals, I would need 1.4 terabyte of storage to protect this data. My raw data, the amount of data I have on my servers is 251 gigabytes. Okay, so because I have a lot of recovery points, in order to protect this 251 gigabytes, I would need 1.48 terabytes. But the amount of storage I'm actually using is 45 gigabytes. So I can achieve that by using the duplication and compression. And even though my environment is a lab environment and I don't have a lot of data, the duplication rate should be lower. I'm still having pretty good results here because our deduplication technology is quite aggressive, and it works with very small blocks to help you achieve these. So this is very important because this is how much storage you will be saving when working with UDP. We have two very nice graphs here that help you see if you're complying with your SLAs. So we have the recovery point objective report and the recovery time objective report. So basically here you can see how many recovery points you have, when were the latest ones generated, and when were the oldest ones generated. The RTO report, it tells you how long you're taking to execute each of these recovery operations. So I've done some should recovery testing, I've done some virtual machine recovery, instant virtual machine, and I have different data here. So what could happen for these machines not to be green is that either the operation that I did failed, or it worked successfully, but it didn't work. It didn't run in the time range that I defined initially. So if I want to see what happened here with my environment, I can just click here, for example, and I'm going to see the recovery time objective report. And I can see that this server here, it's as actually yellow here because it actually failed the operation. I have another one here, which was a recovery machine, virtual machine recovery. And this I had configured to run in up to 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. It ran successfully, and it took only 3 minutes. Okay, I had a failed assured recovery test, and I have another one that worked. I had configured the assured recovery test to run in up to 20 minutes. This machine took 2 minutes, and its instant virtual machine operation, which was configured to run in up to 10 minutes, only took 1 minute to run. So basically what I have here is a way of defining if I'm complying with my SLA for my business needs, basically, right? And all of these graphs, they can take you to a more detailed report, which can also be scheduled and sent to you, for example, in a weekly basis, so you can keep up with what's going on with your environment. I'm going to go ahead to the resources tab so I can show you how easy it is to manage everything that you've got there. So for example, I have very many types of machines. I have virtual machines here that are running on VMware. I have physical machines, Linux, Windows, to Windows machines, to Linux machines. I have some connections to Office 365. And as you can see here, I have Exchange, OneDrive, and SharePoint. What I would like to show you here is how easy it is to configure. So basically, when we go to the plans configuration, we're going to be able to set up the tasks that we need to run in order to protect the system. So just as you can see an example here, my Windows plan, it has 2 different tasks. I have a backup, right, that is run during the night, and after my backup, I run an assured recovery test. So I run my backup and then I test it. How do I test it? I actually have the machines that I'm protecting here. They're connecting to a Hyper-V, and they are getting spun up on the Hyper-V during the night, just to make sure that these machines are going to work when I need to recover them. Okay, so UDP is doing this automatically. It's populating the SLA report, and it has also its own assured recovery alerts that can be sent out to you by email, for example. So the idea of the plans is that just so you have different tasks that you can run in order to protect your environment. About Office 365, let's go here to my OneDrive plan. So basically, what I have here is a connection to Office 365. I have my OneDrive source here. Let me open that for you so you can see it. And what you see here is a list of all of my users on Office 365. And these are the users that I'm protecting. So this is pretty straightforward. And as you can see, this is part of the UDP console. I don't need a different console in order to configure these different levels of protection to different sources of data. I'm going to go back here to all nodes, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to do a granular recovery from OneDrive. So basically, I would just right click and go to restore. It's gonna open an agent console, which is basically the proxy that I'm using to back up the data. You don't need to expose your recovery point server or RPS, which is the server where the data store is, to the internet. You can use a proxy, which is a machine connected to the internet that can bring the data from Office 365 for you. And if you're using the cloud, the procedure will be exactly the same. So here we have some recovery points that I generated. I'm going to go to next. And what it's going to show me here is the users that had files to be backed up. As I don't have a lot of things out there. It's a lab environment, but I can show you here that my user here has a few documents, and I'm just going to select one of the files here. Can be the spreadsheet, and I'm going to download it here to my server. So I'm going to put it here on the D drive. Next, and finish. So in a few minutes, you're going to see this file on my D drive. It's called responses 6.xlsx. So we're going to wait for this to finish, and we're going to see other things. I have a plan here where I protect my VMware environment. What I want to show you with this is that the way that I configure my VMware environment is going to be the same way that you're going to configure your Nutanix AHV environment. So here I have a few virtual machines that I'm protecting, okay? And here, as you can see, I can add nodes from Hyper-V, from VMware, and from Nutanix. So the procedure is exactly the same. It's done through the same console, and it's going to allow me to select my Nutanix machines and have them protected here. So everything that you already do with ESXi or with Hyper-V, you're going to be able to do with AHV. Okay, so it's an added support, no third console, no complicated procedures. It's just integrated. It just works just fine, right? So let us see if our file has been restored. I think it just did. Let's go to my D drive here. So I have, let me see, this is here. It creates the folders for me, okay? And here I have my responses 6.xlx file. So restored from OneDrive in a few clicks in a couple of minutes. So it is there. The other thing I wanted to show you, which is pretty nice, is the virtual standby and the assured recovery configuration. So basically, if you want to pre-restore a server, even if the source is physical, virtual, or if it's a cloud instance or anything like that, you can just have like the first task, which would be your backup task, and you can add a second task to the plan, and basically just click on virtual standby, and this will allow you to take the data that was generated on task 1 and pre-restore this data as a new virtual machine on which platforms? VMware, Hyper-V, AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Nutanix AHV. So after you select the connection to your host, you're going to put the virtual machines details, like how many CPUs you want to add to it, how much memory, where do you want to store the data, and things like that. And what's going to happen is that every time that I run task 1, it's going to take the data and update this virtual machine that is there on standby. And when I have an issue with my source machine, all I have to do is just spin up this machine that is there on standby. This is pretty nice because I'm going to have no impact to my production environment while I'm recovering, because the machine is already pre-restored. My downtime is really, really, it's really, really short. And you're going to have your machine running. And as you can see, I'm going to show that to you again. We can support this in VMware, Hyper-V, AWS, Azure, and Nutanix AHV. So very easy from the same console. And this machine here from task 1, it can be physical, it can come from a different hypervisor, or it can be a cloud instance, right? So this is very nice. The other thing I wanted to show you is the assured recovery task configuration. So basically what you will do is just select the recovery points that you want to test, and on test settings, then you're going to be able to either spin up this machine or mount a virtual disk in which we're going to run a check disk. And the type of hypervisor where we're going to test this machine can be a vSphere or a Hyper-V. So this is really great. If you have an UDP appliance also, the appliance comes with Hyper-V, and you can use that Hyper-V to test your production machines without any disruption to your production environment. Okay, so let me go back here. and I want to show you the instant VM procedure, which will allow you to spin up a machine very fast. If you haven't configured virtual standby to it, and you've had a problem with this machine and you need it up and running right away. So let's, I'm gonna get this Windows machine here, and I'm just going to power it off. So let's say that I just lost this server, okay? So it's already turning off. So I'm gonna, let's say I just lost the server. I'm gonna go to my all nodes here, and you will see shortly that this will be red because this machine won't be connected anymore. I'm gonna right click on it and say create an instant VM. I'm going to select the recovery point that I want to use. So I'm going to use my latest, but you can use any of the recovery points that you have. I'm going to select the hypervisor, again, VMware or Hyper-V. I'm going to select Hyper-V because I want to show you how it would be if you were working with our appliance, for example, but it can work with both VMware or Hyper-V. And if you're in the cloud, this will work in the cloud as well. Then I go to next and next. And on the last step, I'm just going to configure the virtual machine. It's going to be shown like this on my Hyper-V, okay, with this prefix. I can configure a folder to do that. So let me go here to my D volume. This is on my Hyper-V, okay? I'm going to create a folder called Instant VM Webinar. Okay. I'm going to add a network adapter. I'm going to leave this amount of memory and CPU. I could change this machine's host name. I'm not going to do that right now. Go to finish and boot now. So basically what it's going to do is on the background, it's going to mount this recovery point. It's going to create a new virtual machine on Hyper-V. And it's gonna configure its storage to the mounted recovery point we have here. So basically what we're doing is we're spinning up this machine from its backup without having to restore any data, okay? So while it's running here, I'm just gonna show you what's going on Hyper-V. And as you can see here, the machine is being created. Right now it's turned off. It's gonna be spun up very soon. We can monitor it from here, or we can just look at it from the Hyper-V. It's going to take a couple of minutes. Here, Hyper-V. Let me refresh this. Okay, I'm going to leave it here doing its thing. So we're going to go back to this machine as soon as it's running. So basically what I wanted to show you is how easy it is to operate UDP, how easy it is to recover a file, for example, from OneDrive, how easy it is to manage all of your servers and your connections and everything like that from this console. You can see that we have groups of machines here that are automatically created depending on the source you have or the plans that you've created. But if you want, you can also go ahead and create your own group of machines that you want to manage, and you know, just classify your servers or your connections as you wish, separating them into different environments or different services, or however, or different tiers even, however you want to group them. So let's go back here and see how this is going. So this machine should be spinning up right now. Okay, so as you can see here, Windows is starting. This is going to take a few minutes because I didn't put too much memory for this machine, but as you can see, the operating system is already starting here, and very soon we're going to have the machine in its login screen. Okay. I'm going to go back here to my presentation, and just to do a quick summary. So what I showed you in the console is that we can protect all of these environments that you might have. We can protect Windows, Linux, we can protect shares, we can protect Office 365 data, we can protect instances that you have in the cloud. Everything will be managed by the UDP console. You can work with a software-based solution. You can work with our appliances. You can replicate this data to our cloud hybrid solution, or if you want to use AWS, Azure, or any of these cloud solutions as let's say a second or a third layer of protection, we can also send the data out there and we can recover your machines into one of these platforms. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to call Steve or Mariano, which is one of our other colleagues that is on the line, to see if there are any unanswered questions that they want to bring up. I see that everything is pretty much answered.
Sorry, I was on mute. I've endeavoured to answer as many as I can, and Mariana's been busy in the background. One of the questions that's come up quite a lot, actually, which is about for those people on existing editions that have a mixed environment. If we're not mixing them now in UDP 7. The honest answer is I don't know. It's a very good question. Quite a few of you have asked it. I'm slightly embarrassed that I don't have an answer for you. I have actually, whilst we've been on the call, emailed our retention team to ask what the process is. I imagine that basically that they will be consolidated into a single version at the point of renewal. That would be my expectation. So I think that you'll still be, the first thing is you'll still be entitled to the upgrade for the versions that you have as part and parcel of your maintenance. Typically how we will do things in the past, if I go back, is that we will either continue to renew those people who have mixed environments as mixed environments. We just won't be selling them new anymore. It may be that we basically consolidate it with a single renewal for a single version and upgrade all versions to the same version at the point of renewal. But I will confirm that via email to all attendees when we finish this call. I have the actual de facto answer for you. To go through some of the other ones, some of these are technical that
Hi, this is Mariano. There is a very interesting question regarding Microsoft Teams, if we can support it or not. And the question is, we do support it, we do protect the Teams information indirectly, because since we can protect SharePoint and Exchange, we are protecting as well the information. So we cannot specify the protection for Teams, but we can protect information that's all the chats and all the content is being protected already.
Yeah, the thing with Teams is that the Teams data is stored in the mailboxes, like all the chat history is there. The files, they go to OneDrive and they can go to SharePoint as well. So wherever Teams stores this information, it will be Exchange, SharePoint, or OneDrive at some point. So we're going to be able to protect all of that data. So there isn't like a specific Teams box that we can check, but you can definitely protect the folders that Teams uses to store the data, and the conversation history folder in the mailboxes, because that's where Microsoft stores all that data. Let's see, we have a lot of, there's so many questions here. I'm going to pick up some of them. How long will Arcserve 6.5 update 4 be supported? All of this information you will find in our support portal, support.arcserve.com. You're going to have a list of end of service, end of life, and launch dates over there. Okay. Is Instant VM a new function? No, Instant VM has actually been on since version 6, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. It's not a new function. It's actually being there for quite some time. There's another. Oh, I got lost.
There's one here, Amanda. Where are we now? It's jumping around a bit. Apologies.
Okay. I got another one. If replication is not now covered by the unified installer, does it have its own upgrade procedure, and what order to do things need to be upgraded, like agents, UDP, etc.? This is for this is not the backups replication within UDP. Okay, this is one thing. This is already within UDP, and this is covered. What is not in the unified installer anymore is RHA, is the asynchronous replication that we do. That is a part from UDP. It doesn't do backup. It's a synchronous replication. It was part of Premium Plus, and it was added to the unified installer. But since we don't have the Premium Plus licensing anymore, if you want to work with RHA, with the asynchronous replication and high availability, you're going to have to install RHA with its own installer. Okay, but this has nothing to do with the backups replication that we have in UDP. Okay.
The other question I have is, have we fixed the issue where you have to remove replicate to the cloud if you want to add a test to an existing plan?
That's quite a specific. I would address this offline. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, no problem.
Oh, there's a question about KVM. Very good one. It was not listed as supported. So basically the support that we have for KVM is an agent-based support. We do support KVM, but we do not do agentless backups with it. Okay, so we have to back up through an agent as if it was like a physical machine. But the Linux servers, specifically the Linux server support on UDP, it's different from the Windows one, because we only require you to actually install the agent on one of your Linux machines, and it's going to distribute the executable that is going to run the snapshots to the other Linux physical machines. So even if you have like a lot of Linux machines inside of a KVM, you only install the agent on one of them. That one will be called your Linux backup server, which has the agent installed. And this agent will distribute the executables and all the things that need to generate the snapshot to the other nodes that are being protected by UDP. Okay, so we don't have a direct integration with KVM in terms of KVM generating the snapshot like we do with VMware Hyper-V and Nutanix, but we can work with the Linux agent that is a little bit smarter than the Windows ones. Okay.
I'll answer one question quickly before I pass one to you, Amanda. What's the release date? Last week. It's available now for download. If you go to our website, it was released last Wednesday, in point of fact, so it's already been generally available for 7 days. The technical question: does the instance standby keep the IP address if originally is on VMware and the standby is on Hyper-V?
It's configurable. So when I added, it's just that I did it very fast, but when I added the network configuration to the machine over there, it could have changed the IP address. Okay, so it's optional. You can either keep the source IP address or you can assign a new one. Okay.
Sure. Okay. We've got supported. We've answered that. Is instant VM a new function? No. Can we replicate to OneDrive now? I don't believe that's the case, but we can.
It's the other way around. We back up from OneDrive. We do replicate to Microsoft Azure, and we can copy recovery points to Azure Blob. Okay, these are very different things. We don't use OneDrive as a destination because Microsoft doesn't provide connectors to do so. So we do that with Azure Blob. If you're looking for like go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, a related question was, can we restore OneDrive items direct into OneDrive, or do we need to restore it locally first?
They have to be locally restored. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, we're a little bit over the time, so all of you who asked questions that were not answered live, we're going to contact you by email and have your questions answered. Okay. We still do have a lot of questions that haven't been answered, and we could take another hour of a session to answer them. So we're going to reach out to you directly by email. Okay.
I'll just answer one more, which is important, sure. Actually, if that's okay. Just because the question answer, it's probably on a lot of everybody's lips, is that regarding whether data ingress or egress and other items are chargeable to our cloud. Our cloud is a two fixed costs, basically. There's one which is the capacity you require for backup in the cloud, and then the amount of disaster recovery you require in the cloud for actually starting up services in DR mode in the cloud. All other things are included, so it's a fully burdened cost. So there is no charge for data ingress, there's no charge for data egress, there's no charge for things like bandwidth. Basically, the bandwidth into the data center is absolutely vast, so we can accommodate whatever you can throw at us, basically, and all of this is done at no additional charge. So it's, I think it's important to understand that with the cost of our cloud, it is a fully burdened cost.
Yeah. Well, just before we finish, it's just a very important question came up that for users that are currently using version 6.5, UDP 7 does not appear as an update because it's a new version. Okay, it's a complete new version, so you have to do actually an upgrade and not just an update. Okay, so what you can do directly from the console are updates, but because this is a major version, you have to actually download the installer and do a software upgrade. Okay, it's going to upgrade all of your plans, all of your configuration, your history, everything is going to be there. It's going to import your data store and everything else, but it has to be an upgrade process. Okay. All right. With the rest of the questions, we should address offline. I really appreciate all of you being connected today. I'm going to leave some links here for you if you want to look for more information. Well, the website is arcserve.com. For those of you who are in the UK, we have a /UK website. You can find more resources like data sheets, white papers, etc. in our website as well. You can try UDP 7 free for 30 days. If you are an existing customer under maintenance, you can request your free of charge today, your free of charge upgrade, and you can start using this new version. For the Arcserve Appliance, you can try before you buy it. So contact us for the try and buy offer. And we have UDP demos every Friday at 10 a.m. BST. So if you want to join, just follow this link, and you will get registered for those as well. Okay. I really appreciate your help, Steve, Mariano. Thank you so much for joining us, and everybody who's been here for over 1 hour. We really appreciate it, and we really hope that you've liked the session. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.